All right, so here we go. Welcome to tonight's training entitled How to Maximize Your Business Potential via Instagram. My name is Jimmy McMichael, and I'll be your host tonight as we kick off this three-part training series on social media marketing. So I bring you greetings on behalf of Headco Inc. and their sponsors and partners who work together to make these small business trainings possible. So tonight's guest presenter is a subject matter expert on all things social media, and I'm excited about the opportunity that you have to learn tips and tools that will help draw brand awareness to your company. So the housekeeping rules for tonight, it is in webinar format, so you can see and hear her, but you won't be able to see any of the other attendees who are on this webinar, like in a traditional Zoom meeting. So it's definitely an interactive experience, so feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat as we go along, and we'll take them, as they come up, as they're pertinent to the presentation that we're going to do. So my only rule for tonight is make sure you enjoy yourself and use what you learn tonight. And if you're with us the next 2 weeks as she continues to present to help grow your business. So tonight's speaker, Miss Christina Canoe, is going to share a little bit about herself. So I'll simply just say this about her. We're extremely honored to have such an incredible talent with us, and I know that you're going to find her training nothing short of amazing. Therefore, no further ado, allow me to introduce to you Miss Christina Canoe of Christina Canoe Consulting. So, Miss Canoe,
Oh,
you have the floor.
wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And Ado and Canoe rhymed. So of course, I'm a little tickled about that. But good evening, everyone. As Jimmy had said, my name is Christina Canoe, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of Christina Canoe Consulting. I am incredibly grateful to Jimmy and his team, as well as Headco, for having me this evening to be one of the guest speakers. Super excited to be connecting with everyone over the next couple of weeks. So, today we are going to talk about how to maximize your business potential via Instagram. I am super excited as Instagram is absolutely one of my favorite social media platforms. So, we will go ahead and get this party started. So, a little bit about myself. I am Christina. I am originally born and raised in Northern Virginia. I outside of Washington, D.C. So I went to school in Northern Virginia, and eventually I went to Old Dominion University, where I received my bachelor's in English literature. It's crazy because, similar to many entrepreneurs, I had no idea that I was ever going to start a business. That was never my idea in life. My thinking was that I was going to be a high school English teacher because I absolutely loved working with teenagers and loved teenagers at the time. But, sometimes your plans tend to shift. So, after I received my bachelor's in English literature, then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where I currently reside. Got my master's in African American Studies from Clark Atlanta University. I serve on the board of directors for Worldwide Women Group, which is a nonprofit that seeks to work with women and girls, which is based out of Virginia. I also received a certificate in women's entrepreneurship from Cornell University, so that was super exciting. I serve as the International Public Relations Chair for Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. And when I'm not doing all of these other wonderful things, such as running a business, I am a mother to a 6-year-old little boy named Jace. I'm a proud boy mom. Definitely a boss. That's something that I definitely enjoy. I am a mentor to more people than I can count. Absolutely a leader. I am Drake's biggest fan, and I am very faith driven in every single thing that I do. And a little bit about Christina Canoe Consulting. It is a business and brand strategy firm where we specialize in all things business and brand strategy, social media, creative direction, public relations, and so much more. So for today's agenda, that was the introduction. We are going to do a little bit of an icebreaker in a second. So Tiffany, get ready. I will be calling on you. And following the icebreaker, we are going to talk about all things Instagram. So we're going to do a very deep dive into Instagram, the history of it, the benefits of using Instagram, how to utilize Instagram for your business, and just also understanding the anatomy of Instagram. And then, of course, we will end with questions and answers. So, Tiffany, I will call on you. I would love to learn a little bit more about you and a little bit more about the business that you currently have or the business that you want to start.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So I'm Tiffany Winfield Alexander, and I am the founder and CEO of Momentum Life Mastery Coaching. I work with men and women, but primarily work with women, and I use a heart-centered approach. I'm a holistic coach. I also do trainings and facilitations for organizations. I'm a full-time working wife and mom of four, who
Woo!
loves Renaissance fairs, movies, musicals, dancing, and art.
One, wow, mom of four. That's amazing. I'm a mom of one, and I'm just like, whoo, gosh, it's always so busy.
Everything after
So,
two is just like rinse and repeat.
yeah, that's definitely what people say. And I'm, as a mother, I love being a mompreneur. That's one of my favorite things about it. And, that's something that's when, when we talk a little bit more about Instagram, of course, we're going to talk about the storytelling element of everything. So let's go ahead along with the agenda. So again, some housekeeping, of course, take lots of notes. Drop any questions in the chat. And of course, at the appropriate time, we will make sure to answer those. Feel free to engage in real time as we are doing this presentation. And definitely tag me at Miss Canoe, MISSKANU, and most importantly, have fun. These types of trainings are some of my favorite trainings to be able to do because, again, I love being able to teach people about social media. Social media and your business, they go intertwined. Oftentimes, I'm asked by people like, hey, do I really have to have social media accounts for my business? About 30 years ago, when social media didn't exist, you wouldn't have had to need us to do that because there were so many other forms of marketing, which I know that everyone will be learning about in the different functions during this training. However, in 2024, as we are approaching the middle mark of the 2020s, you absolutely have to use some form of social media as it relates to your business. It's one of the most important parts of marketing. Another thing about it too is it is absolutely free. It's not something where you have to invest a lot of money into being able to do it. And with the inventions of social media platforms, in particular Instagram, we've seen a lot of businesses take up or take a lot of success after utilizing these platforms. So let's go ahead and let's dive into it. So the history of Instagram. Before I get into the history of Instagram, I have to talk a little bit about social media. So we start to see in the late 90s and the early 2000s this sense of people wanting to feel connected to one another. So I'm a 90s baby. So I remember, when we first got AOL at my house and it was like, whoa, this is absolutely cool. And there's different chat rooms and there's just different ways for you to be able to communicate with people who you haven't had much conversation with before, or people that you don't even necessarily know. So you start to see this feeling of wanting to talk and connect with different people in a way, in a very social way. So, of course, prior to Instagram, there's Facebook. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more about Facebook. Before Facebook, there was MySpace, and MySpace, it was originally a platform for artists to be able to share their music. But you start to see a lot of high school students, a lot of college people just creating MySpaces because it's just a way to be able to engage a little bit more. Then the next really big social media platform, of course, was Facebook. But again, we'll save that for another day. Then next came Twitter. But then we get to Instagram. Instagram was founded in 2010. And of course, the parent company is Meta, and Meta owns pretty much everything. But Meta, of course, is historically known for being the owner of Facebook. And one of the things about the parent company Meta is that what you will see is it's almost like they have a monopoly over social media where any other company that is going to start something, Instagram is going to figure out a way to replicate that particular function. So if you look at TikTok, which of course is something that is super popular right now, Instagram went ahead and created Instagram Reels, which are the short form videos that you're able to watch and you're able to upload that are really, really, really popular on Instagram. And of course, we'll talk a little bit more about Reels. So Meta's the parent company for Instagram. The primary function of Instagram is to be a photo and video sharing social network. So it's very visually appealing. That is the whole functionality of it. When you think about social media platforms such as Facebook, Facebook is really good for keeping people connected, memories, being able to keep up with your family members, with your friends, and all of those things. And it uses an even balance between text and between pictures. When you think about a social media platform such as Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter, that is purely text. That's just people in real time being able to share their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, whatever news. That's what the functionality of Twitter. But when we're looking at Instagram, again, it is a photo and video sharing social network. So when you look at the early stages of Instagram, all people were doing were just sharing pictures. You couldn't even share videos at the time. You were sharing pictures of, I just had a cup of coffee. I just went for a walk. This is a random tree. This is my family. This is what I'm making for dinner. There was no rhyme or reason or etiquette in the very early stages of Instagram. I remember I think my first Instagram post, first of all, the quality of the pictures, if you go back and scroll deep, sometimes I tell people, go back and scroll and take a trip down memory lane. You're able to see the progression of Instagram over the years and how much better the picture quality of everything was. In my opinion, I believe that when we're talking about entrepreneurship and we're talking about business, that Instagram is the most important business social media platform for entrepreneurs. As we go through this presentation and we talk about the accessibility of Instagram and how user-friendly it is, you will see that it's like a one-stop shop. If a person was only going to, and of course, depending upon the industry, but as a blanket statement, if you were to only pick one of the 3 social media platforms for you to be able to use, Instagram would absolutely be the go-to one to be able to utilize for your business. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of Instagram. So of course, it's very popular. Instagram, it's global. So you're going to find people, it doesn't matter where they are in the world, they are utilizing Instagram. And it's something where it's a very intergenerational platform. Of course, the target audience for Instagram, you're going to be thinking about people between the ages of 20 and 45 when you're looking at Instagram analytics. Those are the primary people and primary audiences who are typically using Instagram. But of course, it's a very popular platform. People are on it all day long, just scrolling. There's some people, they don't even brush their teeth in the morning. They're just immediately going to Instagram and taking a quick peek at it because there's so much news that is there. So I know I mentioned that Twitter is very much a newsworthy platform, but on Instagram, there's a lot of new news sources and media outlets where they're posting news around the clock on Instagram, and people are finding out groundbreaking news of different things that are happening in our world from Instagram. When we look at Instagram, it's also revenue generating. There's functionalities on Instagram that allow for you to sell your products and sell your services immediately from Instagram. So it's not a place where you have to go to all of these different places. Like, you can make money immediately from Instagram because of the shop platforms and just the different links that you are able to click. As I mentioned before, it is absolutely easy to use. So of course, easy is a relative term. And as someone who is utilizing social media all of the time, it's very easy for me to like, oh yeah, Instagram's easy. But as you learn it, and of course, after this training, one will find how much easier Instagram is and how it really doesn't have to be as complicated as people make it seem. Again, with the target audience. So of course, when we're looking at our early 20s to people in their mid 40s, if your business is targeting that age demographic, Instagram is absolutely going to be one of the most important platforms for you to definitely utilize. Because granted, yes, millennials and everybody, people within the ages of 20 to 45, yes, they're on Facebook, but not so much from a business perspective. They want to be able to, there's been several times, and living in Atlanta, there's been several times where I have gone out to different places and I'm networking and I'm meeting people. And, we're talking about what their business is and what my business is. Before, people would, hey, do you have a business card? Now it's, hey, what's your Instagram page? What's your IG? Are you on the gram? Those are going to be the things that are coming up in conversation. So of course, it's really important to be able to have a functional page. Simplicity, again, although Instagram is constantly changing from time to time, from day to day, they're adding different new features. It's still a very simple platform for people to use. It's ideal for anyone in business. So again, when we think about links, whether it is that you have a website or if you want to advertise, or even with your website, it's important for people to be able to get to specifically what it is that they want to use. So on Instagram, you can either have a link tree, you can have a link in bio, where you're able to place that. and it will take people to the various avenues. So if it is, hey, I want people to read about this news article that was written about my business, that you can easily have a link there. Or, hey, if you are a new client, if you are booking a new coaching call, if you want to purchase this new product, you can immediately go and click that particular link. So again, the functionality of being able to have a one-stop shop. This is my Instagram page. I can go and I can click on that particular link. That is something that is super important. The next is the shop feature on Instagram. So the reason why this is super important, especially for product-based businesses, is you're able to have your products right there on your page where people are able to immediately go, click, hey, I like this candle, I like this perfume, I like this purse, I like this journal, whatever it is that you're selling, people are able to immediately go there, click on the product. Then they're able to pull out their Visa, MasterCard, American Express, PayPal, whatever it is that they're using to pay, and they're able to immediately purchase that product. So it eliminates all of this back and forth of, okay, I can look at your Instagram. Now I have to go to a completely separate browser, and I have to go to your website. Then I have to go there and I have to go this, because the thing about it is, because Instagram is as popular as it is, people are seeing things over and over and over and over and over again. So they want that accessibility factor. Nobody wants to have to feel as if they have to go to the moon and buy a moon rock to be able to get your services or to get your products. So it's super important, especially for my product-based businesses, to be able to use that shop button. Then the next thing is free promo. You don't have to pay to have an Instagram account. Whether you have a personal Instagram account, whether you have an Instagram for a business account, or if you have an Instagram creative account, all of the Instagram accounts, they are absolutely free. The only feature that you would have to pay for is if you decide that you want to be have the notary check and become, notarized on Instagram, or excuse me, verified on Instagram. If you want to become verified, that's the only thing that you would have to pay for. But other than that, it's everything is completely free. You're as well as because the thing about it is, people are able to share whatever it is that you're posting on social media, and so that's putting your advertisement about your business to several different places. So it's not something where you have to do the most or pay for all kinds of just ad space. However, if you do want additional ads, that is something that you have to pay for Instagram. But for the most part, you're able to put out whatever it is about your business, as long as it is following the guidelines of Instagram. And that's free promotion for you. It doesn't get much better than that. Then the other piece of it is the engagement factor. So let me rewind a little bit when we talk about the history of Instagram. So initially, there weren't a lot of corporations and businesses on Instagram. It was more of a personal platform. Hey, I want to share what I had for lunch. I want to share a new recipe. I want to share a picture of me and my bestie. That's what people were using Instagram for. But then what we start to see, and a lot of companies started to see this, is people are starting to spend less time watching TV, because there was a lot of things that were going on in the 2010s or the 2000s going into the 2010s, and of course, ultimately ending up in the 2020s. People aren't watching as much live television as they once used to, unless, bearing, sports events or award shows or the news. For the most part, people are streaming things. Or if people are watching things, it's at their own time. TiVo, I'm going to record it, I'm going to watch it a little bit later. Because what people are doing is they're on their phone. So they're on their phone, they're just scrolling away, just doing all different types of things. So what you start to see happening with corporations is that you start to see a lot of them saying, hey, people aren't, watching, there's not ads for my products and for my services. We don't need to invest as much advertising dollars on commercials, with the exception of, things such as the Super Bowl. And again, very big events. Let's go ahead and utilize these free social media platforms such as Instagram. So eventually you start to see there isn't a major company that does not have an Instagram account. This other element of what it does is it creates this room for engagement, which is a huge benefit of Instagram. I'm able to connect with my audience in real time. So one thing about me is, if I get bad service somewhere, I'm immediately, or like really, really bad service, like, oh my gosh, service is horrible, or oh my God, they forgot my this, or oh my God, I'm going to go ahead, go on Twitter, go on Instagram, or whatever, leave some type of comment, leave some type of remark, and then immediately you're getting a direct message from that company. So companies, they're actually investing in people who are going to be responsible for community engagement. So if it's, hey, oh my gosh, I went to Chick-fil-A, absolutely loved the service, everything was remarkable, everything was wonderful, and I leave a comment, then there's going to be a person who works for Chick-fil-A social media team, and they're going to respond to that comment. So companies were starting to see that, you're able to have that engagement. Now, bringing that back to small business owners, this is a way that you're able to learn a lot about your audience. You're able to learn what they love about your products. You're able to learn about what they hate about your services, and you're able to just understand a little bit more about them. The other thing too is with people who are following your social media accounts, you're able to click on their little picture, go to their profile, and have a much better understanding of who is my target audience. Is my target audience women? Is it men? Is it both? Is it moms? Is it people who live in Connecticut? Is it people who live in California? Is it people who live in Atlanta? Are they global? What time of day are they on social media? Like, you're able to learn all of those different elements because there's that engagement piece, as well as being able to thank your customers. Like, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for supporting my business. Hey, I just wanted to personally, you can, direct message these people. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, we're getting ready to drop this new service. We're getting ready to do this. There's just that engagement piece when you're looking at Instagram versus, yes, websites are absolutely wonderful. I believe that everybody should have a website for their business, but you don't get to engage with your audience in that same vein. And then the other reason why it's ideal for anyone in business is because you are building a community of people. So you are building community, which is something that is super important. And this really came about, especially after the pandemic, where there was this need to, people want to feel connected. When, for the 2 or 3 years, especially that first year in 2020, where everybody was at home, people weren't going places, what you start to do is you start to see this genius of how is it that we can build community and we can't necessarily physically touch each other. One of my favorite, a couple of examples of building community, especially during the pandemic, was DJ D-Nice, where he started having his club quarantine. And so everybody was popping up in club quarantine. First Lady Michelle Obama came one day, different celebrities, and all he was doing was just DJing. DJing wasn't new, but he understood that element of building community. Or if you even look at the Versus series where Timbaland and Swizz Beatz, where they had lots of different people just coming or different artists, and people were just in the comments, just building community and talking about it and doing think pieces and all of those things. So it's important, whether you are a small business owner or a large business owner, to think about that element of how do I build community with my audience? So for me as a consultant, one of the ways that I'm building community is I take people along for the journey and for the ride. I share what it is that my business is doing. I share what it means to be a mompreneur and running a meeting, then having to go grab my kid, and then, having to make sure homework is done, dinner is ready, he's in bed, and then still having to pick up emails. So we're building that community where people are able to learn from other people. And that's one of the very beautiful things about Instagram. So let's talk about the key features for Instagram. So, of course, this is an app that you are able to get on your app store, whether you have an Instagram or you have a Droid. Of course, I am team iPhone all day, every day. And so what you're able to do is you're able to download the Instagram app. It's really important to make sure that you're keeping up with how frequently you are updating your Instagram app. So making sure that you're monitoring that, because you want to make sure that you are using the best version of it. That way there aren't features that you aren't getting. You are also able to utilize Instagram on your desktop. Now, what I will say about that is that's not the recommended use. Of course, you can do it, but I recommend, of course, being able to utilize things actually on your phone. So when we look at Instagram, then the first thing that, of course, that is going to be at the top, and I'm actually going to pull it up for you all in a second, is going to be your Instagram bio. So with your Instagram bio, the reason why that is something that is super important is because people want to be able to, let me actually bring it on over so everybody can see. So this is the actual Instagram page. So, of course, they have 670 million followers. Don't we all wish that we had 670 million followers? And it's really important to keep up with this page and the different types of things that they're posting. So I'm going to kind of walk us through a little bit the anatomy. So here at this top is where you're going to see your post number. So the number of posts that you do have. I recommend from time to time, especially as your business is changing, actually going through and getting rid of and archiving posts that you don't necessarily need or posts that aren't necessarily the best reflection of your audience. Then here you have the number of people that you are following, or people who are following you. So that's going to be your follower count. Then you have the number of people that you're following right here. And then of course you're able to click on these little buttons. Instagram is Instagram, so they don't have to have a very lavish bio, but right over here is where they do have what their bio is. So it's important to always tell people what it is that your business does. People should not have to guess it. So if it is that your business, you do makeup, if it is that you are a hairstylist, if it is that you are a business consultant, it's really important to making sure that you have that right here listed, because if not, people aren't going to know what it is that they do. And if they come across your page, we don't want to make people work for different things. So over here, this is referred to as your feed. And over here, anything that is on your feed, those are going to be your posts. So you'll be able to, all of the posts of everything that you're posting, you will be able to see it over here. Instagram, they reshare lots of just different things. So the content, it probably seems very random, but again, their content's able to be random because they are Instagram. If you click on this tab right over here, this is where you're going to see where Reels pop up. The important element about that, and Reels, again, are your short form video content, very similar to TikToks for those people who absolutely love utilizing TikTok. Typically, your Reels are no more than 90 seconds and they are vertical. So it's important if you're ever recording video that you want to be able to utilize as a Reel, to make sure that you are recording vertically, not horizontally. And the reason why it needs to be in a vertical format is because if not, what's going to end up happening is it's not going to fit the frame that you are trying to record in. The benefit of Reels is that video content, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, has become increasingly popular on social media. So yes, of course, it's okay to post, different pictures and all of that kind of stuff, because that is shareable content. It is engaging content. People are able to learn things. But where you're going to get a lot of your engagement from is absolutely going to come from being able to utilize Reels. Then if you come up and click right over here, that is where we have our Instagram stories. Stories are quick little, and again, going back to how Instagram and Facebook, they like to take everything from everybody. Where initially the concept of stories came from was Snapchat. It was this concept of, hey, I don't want everybody to know everything that I'm doing all the time. And I want to be able to share some things, and then I want it to disappear. I don't want it to be available for people to watch in a couple weeks or whenever it is that they feel like it. So again, stories, it's something super quick. Your stories, they live on your Instagram feed for no more than 24 hours. So some people, they post a whole lot of stories. Some people, they don't post a lot of stories. What I tell my clients is that it's important to make sure that you're posting stories throughout the day, because that is helping keep, some people, they don't scroll through their timeline. Some people, all they do all day is just watch people's stories because it's just very quick content and it's very easy to consume. So that's where your stories, they're going to live right over here. The other thing that typically happens, and they're not as popular as they were in the last couple of years, but Instagram Live. Instagram Live is the ability to go live at any point in time, and people are able to watch your video from wherever it is that they're from. Instagram Lives are really good for conversations. So that, again, when we talk about building community, when we talk about engagement, being able to connect with your audience. So if you are, for example, I know that Tiffany mentioned that Tiffany is a coach. So that would be a great time for, if Tiffany wanted to just give a little bit of a snippet of one of the workshops that she's doing, she can go on live, she can talk a little bit about it, she can answer some questions in the comments. And then the beautiful thing about your lives is that you are able to share them to your timeline. So people can go back and they can watch them. Then next, when we talk about, again, going back to these links, this is where the link, your link in bio, does exist. So again, if you click this button, it will take you to wherever it is that it needs to take you to. If you want it to go to your website, it can take you there. If you want it to go to your link tree that has multiple links that you're able to share, it can go there. You always want to make sure that you have a link, because again, this is your moneymaker. This is where when people, they're scrolling through, hey, oh my gosh, I love this business's content. I like what they're all about. Then it's like, okay, I want more information. I want to book a service. I want to do these different things. This is where you are going to go and click. So again, it's always important to make sure that your link is working. Then when we look at comments, of course, comments, people are able to comment about whatever it is that you have going on. The important thing about comments that sometimes people forget is you want to actually respond to your comments. You want to make sure that you are, if somebody comments, oh my gosh, I love this particular product. Oh my God, I love this particular service. You want to make sure that you're clicking the little heart and liking the comment, and then actually going back and responding to the comment. The reason why that's important is because that is increasing your, it's increasing your it's increasing your engagement. And it's what it's doing is the more comments. So for example, I love Beyonce. As soon as Beyonce posts something, millions of people, because millions of people follow her, people are coming, they're commenting, they're liking, and they're doing all of that. It's not only just because it's Beyonce posting, it's because of the fact that the algorithm understands people like this type of comment or content. So people are going to comment, people are going to like, and because Instagram understands people like this type of content, they're going to push it out to more and more people. So as we tone it back into your business, when you are commenting back to the people who are interested in what it is that you have going on, and when you are liking things, then what that is telling Instagram is, hey, there are people who are interested in this type of content. Let me go ahead and continue to push it out. And again, as a business owner, you want for people to understand and feel supported by you. Then another thing that is a really good key feature of Instagram is being able to do polls. So what that will look like is, let's just say you're about to roll out a new service. You can go to your Instagram stories, you can create a poll, and it might be, hey, should our next edition of mugs be blue or should they be purple? And people are able to click, I want blue, I want purple. You're able to see the percentages of it. And then that is helping you understand your audience. There's been several instances where I've seen people who they just want to beta test and get a feeling for, their audience. Like, hey, do you want me to do a live seminar on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn? What are some questions that you have about X, Y, and Z? Do you struggle with whatever? And people, they'll go through and they will do that. Another important feature of Instagram is the ability to be able to schedule things. So if you are going to create a post and you go and you click on the advanced settings button, what you're able to do is you're able to actually schedule content out. And that is something that's so important, especially for small business owners, because a lot of the time, especially if you're a solopreneur, you don't have a million people who are doing a million things for you. It might be just you. You are running your books, you're running your business, you're running your marketing, you're creating the products, you're meeting with the clients, you're mailing things, you're literally doing everything for your business. So to remove a little bit of stress, I always recommend going ahead and scheduling out content. It makes things a lot easier for you. Then there are hashtags, which hashtags are so important. They don't have them on this post, but again, it's Instagram, so they don't necessarily have to. But your hashtags, that is going to be where people who do not follow you are able to find you by searching through the hashtags. So I always recommend, it's important for any business to make sure that you have an actual hashtag that you are actually using. So hashtag Headco, hashtag Christina Canoe Consulting, hashtag whatever the name of your business is. Then you also want to have some hashtags that relate to the industry that you're in. So hashtag consult, hashtag consulting, hashtag branding, hashtag mugs. If you can't tell, I'm a mug girl. I collect mugs, so that's why I use them as for a lot of my examples. So it's important to use hashtags, because what happens is, especially people who are looking for things. So when I first moved to Atlanta, I was like, I need to find someone who knows how to do my locks. So I went through hashtags, hashtag Atlanta locticians, went through, pulled some pages, talked to some people that I know. Hey, what do you think about her work? Next thing you know, I have a hairstylist. So the hashtags are, again, for people to be able to find you. I always recommend for every single post using no less than 7, no more than 15, and just using large hashtags such as hashtags, whatever industry that you're in, and then niching it down. So that way it's even more specific. And then last but not least is the messages feature, where you're able to direct message people. So this is where, if you have people can, hey, I'm interested in your services. How much do you charge? Or, hey, what is your website? Because again, sometimes people don't read. So can you share with me your website? Or, hey, I really love your product, but when it was mailed to me, it chipped. Whatever the situation is, your direct messages are super, super important, because that is a way for you to be able to connect with your audience. So when we talk about maximizing your business potential via Instagram, there's a couple of really important things that I want to take note of. Number one, sharing your story. Nobody knows your brand story, your business's story better than you do. And it's really important for people to feel as if you are taking them along for the journey. So for example, I started my business in 2016. I was like, hey, I'm going to start a consulting firm. People are always asking me to do things, and I love helping people. So you know what? There's a business. And so over the years, I have always captured lots of pictures. I have captured lots of video. I have really created an archive for all things Christina Canoe Consulting. So this Friday, my business turns 8, and I'm super excited about that. And so one of the things that we're putting out is we're putting out a nice little recap reel of everything that's happened over the last 8 years. And so what that does is it connects people with the story. So the element about the fact that I am a single mom and I've been able to raise my son and run my business, that resonates with people. So it's important for you to make sure that you are capturing the journey and making sure that you're sharing your story, letting people know, hey, I just started my business. Hey, I've been in business for so long. Hey, I just quit my full-time job and went, full-time with entrepreneurship. That was my story a couple of years ago. When people are able to understand your story about your business, they resonate a lot more with you. Then it's important to understand the frequency of posting. So that's like one of the million, like if I were to, come up with a list of questions that I'm always getting from clients is, how often should I post? So the very umbrella answer that I would give is, typically you want to be posting 3 to 5 times minimum per week. The reason being is because that is how you are able to penetrate your audience. That's how you are able to really get through the algorithm. And the algorithm essentially is Instagram doing whatever it is that it wants to do and deciding how often and how frequent it's going to put out your content. The more you're posting, the more that you're increasing the likelihood that the algorithm is going to always work in your favor. So again, 3 to 5 times minimum per week. I would say, and by week, I'm typically talking Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday are typically your slower days on social media, meaning where it's the weekend, people aren't really focused on, they want to see fun content. They want to see, what are people doing over the weekend? What are people eating for brunch? Are they at their kids' soccer games? People aren't really doing a whole lot of like business stuff on Instagram during the weekend, unless you have a business that does that. So if you are in the business of inspiring people, then Sunday is going to be important for you, because that's a lot of your motivational content that is taking place on Sundays. That's a lot of your spiritual content that's taking place on Sundays. So again, 3 to 5 times a week. If you are a new business owner, meaning that you just opened doors, or you're about to roll out a new service or a product, that's going to be when you want to lean a little bit, definitely as your 5 times minimum per week. I don't recommend posting multiple times per day unless you are in the product-based business industry. And even still, you want to keep it at no more than 2 times per day when we're talking about your actual timeline. Because what will end up happening is they'll get sick of things. So it's like, I just saw that mug. I'm not liking this, because I just saw it 2 hours ago. So you just want to be really, really mindful of that. Then the next question is, what time do I post, Christina? That's a great question. So the time of day to post, it's going to depend on your industry. But typically the rule of thumb is between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Those are your golden hours for posting on social media. And the reason being is it's always about thinking about the mindset of people. What are people doing between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m.? Most people are working, but more specifically, that's lunchtime. So what happens is people, they're at the job, they're just hanging out, they're doing whatever it is that they're doing. and they go ahead and they're catching up on things. So the likelihood of them being able to see your stuff and engage with it is going to be a lot higher. The reason why I don't necessarily recommend posting a lot on your timeline earlier on in the day, because it's like when people wake up, they might be looking up Instagram, but it's like, you're just waking up, you're kind of getting it together. You're getting the kids to school, you're getting your morning coffee or your morning tea, you're getting ready to head out the door. So unless you are posting like a quote of the day or you working out or something of that nature, people aren't really interested in seeing that. So 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., that's going to be your golden hours. Anything between 3 to 5 p.m. gets a little bit sketchy. The reason why that's sketchy is because, again, what are people doing? People are wrapping up their day. If they were hardly working all day, then they need to work that last hour of the day, picking up kids, taking kids to soccer. They're just busy. Then in the evening, that is when I call it your feelings content or your emotional content. That's when just people want to laugh. People want to be lively. Like, they don't want to pull out their credit cards to be able to purchase your services or your business. So again, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays, just be mindful of it. Also, always keep in mind what time of year it is. So, if it's the holidays, does it make sense to roll out a new service or a product? I always let people know that, telling people that you're launching a business on New Year's Day, that's not ideal because everybody just went out the night before. It's the new year. So you just always want to be very, very, very mindful of what time of day that you're putting out some different things. And then, of course, what to post. It's important to post. People have to, let's talk about service-based businesses first. People have to see what it is that you're doing. So for me as a consultant, it's important for people to see me actually talking. It's important for people to see me engaging with clients. It's important for me to post success stories and wins from my clients. It's important for me to post that, hey, I did this wonderful training and presentation for Headco. You have to post things for people to understand what it is that your business actually does. When you're not posting what it is that your business actually does, people have no idea what it is that they do. And if they don't know what you're doing, then they're actually not going to be able to buy or trust your business. If you are a product-based business, you need to actually post your products. But again, so this is a mug. The mug says Christina Canoe Consulting. Product placement. So if I just post this mug on my timeline, that's not going to really move the needle. What you want to do is getting people actually engaging with your actual product and being able to put out those types of posts. The other thing that you want to do is, again, sharing your milestones, sharing your success stories. If you are someone who is constantly mailing products, share, create a quick little reel or a video of you going to UPS or FedEx or post office. If you are meeting with clients, post on your timeline, pictures of you and your clients actually doing stuff together. Then for quick little bite-sized things, your stories. Stories are really good for telling the story of whatever it is that you're doing with the day. So, hey, super excited. I'm doing this Headco presentation. Earlier on in the day, there might have been some other things that I had posted about what my day had looked like. Stories are just quick little things that you want to share. But the most important thing is you want for people to understand what it is that you do, but you also want to humanize yourself. So sometimes it's like, Christina, do I need a personal and a business page? That's a question that I often get asked. It depends on the business. If you are a product-based business, you absolutely are going to need a separate page from your personal page. If you are a service-based business, you can weave it in as long as about 75 to 80% of your content is actually going to be about what it is that your business is doing. I think it's important to have a combination of professionally done pictures and videos, which of course can be super, super hard when you are just getting started and you might not have the capital that you need for your business. However, it's going to be important to look at doing brand shoots and to being able to do that kind of stuff. That way you have very high quality images that you are taking. But if you don't, it's okay. Make sure that you understand the settings in your cell phone and you're able to capture some things. So again, if we take a look at this picture of the plantains, they were able to get a really good picture to be able to post what that meal looks like, get the people excited, get their mouth watering. Because again, it's important for people to understand, like, what kinds of things do you like to see on your timeline? The other thing is when you are posting about your business, don't forget a caption. Captions are super important. But again, understand your audience. Does my audience respond well to dissertation captions where I'm just writing a whole bunch of stuff? Or does my audience like quick little one-liners, two-liners, maybe a paragraph, but understand that you always want to hook people within that first sentence of whatever it is that they're reading. Also understanding too that you want to be able to have some type of call to action. So if the call to action is, hey, we're running a sale from 6 to 9 p.m. or whatever, don't bury that at the bottom. You know, newsflash, we're running a sale from 6 to 9 p.m. Click the link in bio to see all of the items that are on sale. You want to make sure that you're doing that, as well as even including some emojis, because that adds some color. Then again, going back to community engagement, making sure that you are responding to comments, make sure that you are responding to likes, make sure that you're responding to DMs, making sure that you're checking the various folders in your direct messages. Sometimes there's some things sitting in message requests, because if you're not following somebody and they're not following you, that message, it might not come through. So again, the community engagement, that leads more and more people to you. If people reshare something or tag you in a story, make sure that you reshare that to your stories. Check your tagged photos, because again, your customers and your clients, they might do a testimonial for you, especially if it's a product-based business. Like, hey, oh my God, such and such did my makeup. It was a great experience, whatever it is. And you want to be able to capture that. So again, engage with your community. And then most importantly, it's all about converting followers to customers and clients. But the thing about it is you have to establish brand trust. And even on Instagram, you have to establish brand trust. So if your business posts once every 2 months, why would I buy anything from you? I tell clients, it's almost like, because a lot of people don't have storefront businesses. If you're a storefront, I'm able to go to your store and I'm able to see, oh, your hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you are a small business owner and you don't have your hours listed anywhere, the way that people will know that your business is still functioning and that you're still operating is by going to look at your Instagram page and see, like, oh, okay, they posted 2 days ago. Not they posted 2 years ago. If you posted 2 years ago, I don't want to do business with you, because what that's telling me is you might not be reliable. So again, it's really important to understand that you want to maintain your page. You want to be able to build that trust with your audience. You want to be able to keep up with your industry trends of what are people who are in the coaching industry, what kinds of stuff are they putting out? People who are in the cosmetology industry, what kind of content are they putting out? People who are in the financial industry, what kinds of things are they putting out? And you want to be able to emulate those things, put them out on social media, and that is how we are converting actual followers to customers and clients. There are several, and I'm not just saying this, I've seen it happen several times with me and a lot of my clients, where there are people, I don't know them from anywhere. They don't know me from anywhere. They found me on social media by searching hashtags or seeing something that another client of mine had posted. And it's like, hey, I'd like to work with you. We work together. And again, if I didn't have an Instagram page, if I wasn't keeping it up to date, then people wouldn't have been able to convert over to a customer or a client. I have a client who is a famous baker. And well, yeah, she was in Charlotte, but now she's outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we were able to grow her page from about 200 followers to about 10,000 in about 9 months. That is that's not common. It's not common to be able to do that. But again, her social media, it was so engaging, and people, they were just so excited to be able to engage with her. The pictures were great. The captions were great. The consistency was there, and it was able to grow. So again, she took one of her passions, started her business, had a really good Instagram page, and she was able to convert her followers to actual customers and clients. Some key tips to remember for Instagram is, most importantly, have fun. Instagram is not intended to stress you out. It absolutely is not intended to stress you out. It's supposed to be a fun platform for you to be able to share all about your services, all about your products. That's what it's supposed to be. So again, make it fun. Whenever you have the opportunity to actually engage in real time with your clients and your customers, make sure you're getting pictures and tagging them and putting out those different things, because again, it's supposed to be fun, as well as encouraging people to, hey, make sure you're following my page. If you are ever like at a vendor table, or you're ever just in a situation where you're interacting with people, like, hey, make sure you go to my Instagram page, make sure you follow me, make sure you also follow other people. It's not just a one-sided thing, because again, it's intended to be fun. Next is, do not let the algorithm stress you out. A lot of people get very stressed about the algorithm. And again, the algorithm is just Instagram's system of how it is that I'm going to put out content and who it is that's going to see your content. It's always shifting. So once upon a time, the big thing was picture content. So again, pictures, pictures. Then it was, forget your iPhone and your Droid photos. We're only really putting out professionally high resolution photos. So then it was high resolution photos. Everybody was doing a brand shoot. Then I was like, you know what? We really love video. Video is where we are right now, where short form video is winning, very quick video, utilizing trending audio on social media. So sometimes, as you're watching reels, you'll say like, oh my God, I feel like I just heard that sound. When you see sounds being repeated and trending audio being utilized, that is a key sign for you to utilize it in your content, because that means it's popular and people are interested in it. So again, the algorithm is constantly changing. You try to just keep up with what the trends are doing, but do not let it stress you out. Next, I encourage you to study your industry. Understanding what is popular within your industry and how people are doing things is going to be really important as you are utilizing Instagram. So again, of course, bring your little razzle dazzle to the table, but you don't want to just be going completely rogue and just doing whatever it is that you want to do. So some of my clients in the past have been in the hair industry. So something that's really important is people, they want to see how it is that you do hair. So they might get their little camera, get their ring light, because again, lighting is key on Instagram. And what they're going to do is they are going to be doing just recording, doing a time-lapse video that's recording them doing hair and doing all the kinds of things. And it's like, boom, oh, wow, she went from her hair looking like this to looking like that, because people want to see your technique. So again, if you are in the hair industry and you're only posting before and after pictures, you're not studying your industry and understanding what is important. High quality content is key. Don't post that blurry photo. Don't post a picture that's not aesthetically pleasing. Don't just post for the sake of posting. If you need to edit the video, go ahead and edit the video. There's lots of apps that you're able to use to edit content. It's so important to make sure that you're posting high quality content. Essential. It's a game changer. I recommend at some point, at least 1 to 2 times a year, if you're able to, making sure that you do a brand shoot where you can get that really good high resolution content. And again, that's not even only for your Instagram page. You can utilize that as well for your website. Next, never just post to post. Never just, I'm just going to throw something up there today. Like, oh, it's Wednesday, I haven't posted in 2 weeks. Let me just post something. No. You always want to be able to have some type of cadence to your posting. I recommend social media calendars. It doesn't have to be anything overly deep or overly serious. You can go to a Word doc, pull up a calendar for March, go and look if there's any significant dates to you, if there's significant dates to your industry, significant dates to your business, plug and chug those, and then just thinking about what kinds of content is it that I'm going to put out. Versus, oh my God, I'm just going to post something and it's 10:30 at night and I'm just posting something and the post doesn't do well and now it's messing with my analytics. The other thing is, some people, they're like, listen, Christina, I don't have time to be doing all of this. I have it within my budget to hire a social media manager. The important thing, and that in and of itself is a whole other conversation, but I do want to take a couple minutes on that, is with social media managers, they are not all created equal. Meaning, sometimes people will go the cheaper route. Like, let me just get someone I can pay a couple $100s. If somebody is only charging you a couple $100s to manage your social media page, they are an amateur and they might not necessarily know specifically what it is that they're doing. So it's really important if you're at that stage of your business where you want to get a social media manager, that you get somebody who has worked with other clients. You get somebody who understands social media strategy. They understand content, they understand copywriting, they understand your industry, and you want to make sure that they are able to deliver. You want to make sure that you all are aligned, and you really do want to be able to see examples of their other work. The other thing about having a social media manager is understand that it is a joint partnership between the client and the social media manager. That means that y'all are going to have to make sure that you're providing content to the social media manager. You're going to need to be timely in your revisions. You're going to need to be able to have conversations about what is working, what's not working, what changes you want to see. It is a joint partnership. If you don't look at it as a joint partnership, it's going to be a lot harder. The other thing is making sure that you're aligned on, okay, and I'll give you typically the going rate, the cheapest right now that you're going to see if you're hiring a social media manager is going to be about $900 plus a month. And again, that's very bare minimum. So you might not necessarily be getting all the bells and whistles, but you'll be getting some of the different things, but about $900 per month at bare minimum. Anything lower than that is a little sketchy. So you just want to be super, 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 super careful of that. So the thing about it is, it's going to be important to, again, understand it's a joint partnership, and you're not just, here's my login, here's that, boom, do your thing. Also understanding that sometimes people are like, okay, I hired a social media manager. My Instagram account should go from 100 followers to 2,000. It doesn't necessarily work like that. It takes time, it takes energy, and it takes a lot of love and care. And lastly, listen to the experts. Listen to your social media managers about what it is that they're talking about, because more than likely they are consuming this content a lot more, and they really do understand some things. So before, I know we're going to go into questions in a second, but again, in some kind of concluding words, Instagram, it is supposed to work for you. It is an exceptional platform. I have been using Instagram for my business since the beginning of my business. I've been using Instagram since 2010. Just, when I was back in college, it's something that I absolutely love. Don't run away from it. Don't shy from it. Get comfortable with it. Instagram is not going anywhere. And it is so important to make sure that you're treating your Instagram page like a baby. Make sure that you're giving it the love and the attention and the care that it needs in order for you to truly maximize your Instagram page. Do not run away from it. Don't just put it anywhere. It's something that is super critical, and it's something that is super important. So again, thank you all so much. I'm excited to engage with any questions, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kanu. What an incredibly enlightening training. And so we're just going to open up the floor right now for questions. And I see that Tiffany has her hand raised. So Tiffany, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I had like 12 questions written down, and you answered like 7 of them throughout your presentation. So I was just like, okay, check. Awesome. So that leaves a few questions, if I may.
Of course.
One had, when it comes to shop-based versus, service-based versus product-based Instagram pages, is there any one specific thing that you highly recommend for service-based business? You did mention video, you did mention capturing interactions, you mentioned making sure that people understand what you do. Other than those 3 things, is there anything that is like essential for a service-based business to have on their IG page?
Yes. So I think that it's important when in your link in bio that you have how people can book you. So let's just say, to work with Tiffany, you like to do a 15-minute complimentary consultation or discovery call with somebody. Make sure that that's one of the top links, and that it's labeled, schedule your complimentary consultation with me. You're going to want to make sure that you have that, as well as periodically sharing testimonials from your clients. So you can ask them like, hey, would you mind like sharing, a brief testimonial? Get their words, clean them up a little bit, and then you can put them on, a Canva graphic where you're able to share that on your page, because people, they want to know before they're, especially because service-based businesses, they're not cheap typically, regardless, depending on what the service is that you're providing. So before people want to make that investment, they want to understand like, who are the people that you're working with? What services are you providing? The other thing that's super important for service-based businesses is that your timeline, it looks clean, and that you are staying true to what your brand colors are. So for example, if you couldn't tell, navy blue, white, and black, those are the brand colors for Christina Canu Consulting. So if there's any text on my Instagram page, you're going to see that I'm utilizing navy blue, white, and black. That doesn't necessarily mean that every picture I'm going to be in that, but you're going to see that. So if you're doing, Tiffany, if you were doing like one of those testimonial posts on your page from a client, it's like, I love working with Tiffany because Tiffany does X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 boom. Then just making sure that that graphic, it's clean, it's created in Canva, it's there. So yeah, definitely sharing those testimonials, having how people can book you, that's going to be something that's super important as well.
Okay, and that can be a part of the link tree that you were talking about before, like maybe the first or second entry on a link tree?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, awesome. And then I see a lot of use with the I just call them bubbles because I can't think of what else they're actually called, but they're the little circles that go along
Oh,
the top of the
highlight.
page, the highlights, that's what those are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, is it true that the only way to get content into highlights is that it has to be a story first?
Yes.
Okay, so you can only move a story into a highlight. There's no way to go directly into a highlight.
No. So what you
Got it.
can do is as you are posting things on your stories, then you can
Hmm.
go ahead and move them over to your highlights.
Hmm.
Then what you also can do is if you go to your archive, so if you go to like that settings tab on Instagram, you can go to your archive, you can click on the archive, and then it will show you archived posts, archived stories, and archived reels.
Got it.
And then
Mm.
it will show you all of your stories that you've ever posted. And then from there, you can move it over to your highlight.
Ah, did not know that. Okay, awesome. And then you talked about a minimum of 3 to 5 times per week for posting. Is that a recipe of posts, stories, and reels? Or are you saying like consistently you want to do 5 posts or 5 stories or 5 reels? Is it like mixing them up, like a combination of post stories and reels up to 5 times a week?
So with the 3 to 5 times a week, that would be for your actual timeline.
For the post
So that
itself.
yeah, for the
Okay.
post itself. For your stories, I recommend just putting up store at least a couple of stories throughout the day, every
Hmm.
single day. The reason being is because some people they only watch stories. Then there's some
Got it.
people they only look at stuff on their timeline. One of my sorority sisters, she will watch everybody's stories and just pay attention to the stories and then
Hmm.
will only scroll through her timeline a little bit. And then some people are opposite. It just depends on the preferences. So you want to be able to connect with people either way. And then a easy story is anything that you post on your timeline, clicking the share post to story button, and then that will automatically go there too. And then that
Hmm.
will force
Hmm.
the person to, hey, the post goes to the story, then they can click on that post and that will automatically take them to your timeline.
Okay, great. And then on those highlights for service-based industries, do you have a recommendation of how many, or like, let's say, no, let me rephrase. What are the top 3 to 5 highlight bubbles for a service-based industry?
So I would recommend any like footage of you with clients. So like
Hmm.
clients might be a highlight bubble.
Hmm.
Then testimonials might be a highlight bubble.
Hmm.
Then any, let's just say you were doing like professional development for yourself.
Hmm.
So that might be a highlight bubble. I know one of my highlight bubbles, my clients sometimes give me nice gifts. So I had like client love
Oh,
like
okay. Oh,
as a highlight
okay. I
bubble.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so just different things. If you travel for work, if you do events, like those different types of things are going to be recommendations for your highlight bubbles.
Okay, got it. Um, Couple more questions if it's okay.
Yeah, sure,
Um,
I'm fine.
Okay, just double check. Um, the structure of the grid, can tiles be reordered or are they locked in chronologically? I know how to delete them, I know how to archive them, I know how to pin them, but can they physically be moved?
No.
Didn't think
So
so. Okay.
yeah, once,
I tried.
but, um, on your actual, let's just say you did a carousel post, and a carousel post, that's essentially those posts where it's like swipe to the left, and you're able to have like up to 10 pictures. What you can do is, let's just say you post the wrong picture. You are able to go and edit that post, and just if you swipe up, that will delete one of those pictures. But as it relates to being able to move things around, you aren't able to do that.
Hmm.
Which leads me to the other thing is that you always want to at the top, because Instagram gave us this feature where you're able to pin posts. So
Hmm.
your pin posts, you can pin up to 3 posts. That's important because those are 3 posts that, excuse me, are telling people the most about your business. So that pin post, it might be like, hey, here is my current services list. Or if you had a post that did really, really well, or if you went live and had a really exceptional live, then you can pin those posts as well as being able to pin comments. So as people are engaging with you, if someone's like, oh my gosh, Tiffany was the best, I really loved, working with her, go ahead and swipe that comment to the left and then click that pin button. because what will happen is when people go look at the post, then they are able to, that those are going to be the comments that are popping up first. But yeah,
Got it.
you can archive posts, but you can't move them around. Once
Got it.
it's there until you delete it or archive it.
Okay. And then my final question, because you answered the rest of them, is the juice worth the squeeze on the the verification check? I mean, I was kind of I had in my mind said, well, I'll just get there when I get there. But since I have the expert, is the juice worth the squeeze to get the verification check?
So now, before you had to go, there was a form that you could fill out, or if you were like a public facing person, they would automatically give it to you. Now it is, you can pay for a check.
Mhm.
I think that, me personally, it doesn't have the same value that it once did before.
Fair.
Yeah, it doesn't have it. If you want to pay, I think it's like $9.99 a month to be able to have it. It's cool. But again, before it was like, if you had a blue verification, you were that person. Like, it's like, okay,
Mhm.
Instagram
Mhm.
verified you. They said that. But now it's like, I don't think it's as important now because anybody can have it.
Fair.
But it also, it's one of those things where it's a vanity metric on social media. So similar to, for some people, you know, reaching the 10,000 follower count mark, that's something that's super important for them. But there's some
Mhm.
businesses where they have maybe 1,000 people following them, very profitable businesses. There's some businesses where they have lots of people following them and they're not converting. So with the follower check, I think that with your industry, because again, you are doing coaching, it's not a bad idea to have it. But I think that if you're putting out, like, I don't have an Instagram verification. I never got there and I'm not
Mhm.
paying for it. If you're putting out compelling content, you should be fine without it.
Yeah, and so that actually has me dealing with the reality of my current situation, that I work my heart work part time. So I have a
Mm,
full time job,
yes.
and I do the full time job. That's kind of what allows me to do this other work that I love so much, is because I
Yeah.
can do that, I can do this. So the reality is that my capacity is only but so much, and I've shifted a great deal from one-on-one work and small groups
Yeah.
to doing a lot more training, coaching, groups of people. So that's the other thing about optimizing the Instagram is making sure that I'm not bringing things in faster than I can actually manage them. But
Absolutely.
all of this information has been invaluable. Thank you so much.
No, you're so very welcome. I'm so happy to hear that. Were there
Awesome.
any other questions?
All right, going once, going twice, 3 times on questions. And if there aren't any additional questions, then Christina, we're going to just thank you for being here tonight, for sharing your talents with us. And I know that what you shared was absolutely something that's going to be beneficial to everyone. I actually took some notes as well as I was
Oh,
listening to you go. And so glad that you're here. Christina's going to be with us for 2 more weeks, and we're going to deal with Facebook for business as well as LinkedIn for business. And so if you have not registered for those webinars yet, go to headcoinc.com/events, and you can register to get aboard there. So looks like we've got one more question. So Tiffany, we're gonna go back to you.
Yes, thank you. So just to clarify, for the next 2 weeks, there are two separate links for the Facebook event and for the LinkedIn event.
There are, yes. And so they're up right now at
Okay.
headcoinc.com/events.
Okay. I will say that was I did have to follow breadcrumbs to get to the event today.
Okay.
It was a little bit of a follow the yellow brick road to get to the link. So just in terms of just relatability and ease of use, if there's a forgive me, but like link for dummies, like, hey, click right here, an active link somewhere. That's actually really helpful. I was able to follow the road to get
Okay.
there, but it may help others to find you next week and the week after.
No, awesome. I will definitely make sure that it's an easier registration process in terms of a direct link is sent, so you're not going down trails. So we'll make sure that gets there. And if you have any issues registering, definitely reach out to me directly as well.
Okay.
And we'll make sure. And what I can do if it makes it easier, Tiffany, is I can just kind of put your registration information into next week's as well.
Yes, you can put them in for both because I will be there.
Okay, awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome. So final time for any questions? Last
All
call.
set.
All right. So thank you all. We look forward to seeing you next week, Christina, and
Yes.
appreciate all that you have shared and imparted here tonight. So everyone have a great night, have a great week, and we'll see you same time next week. Take care and good night, everyone.
Thank you.